Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go, and if you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We do have a discount going on called Turkey, if you're interested, in the description link below. And we do have a 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time Saturday question and answer session for those that are members. Let's dive in and take a look and see what's going on in the markets. Let me zoom this thing back out a little bit more, get the full screen there. All right, so we got the DXY. We are up today, 0.27%, kind of split on yields. Short end of the curve was up, long end was flat, and the dollar is slightly higher today. We've got the 2-year up 0.5%. Again, I think this is going to, if we do higher for longer, this should go sideways. If they're going to cut the interest rates, Fed Reserve and whatnot, you'd see it in the 2-year, and that would dive down to the downside. Right now, we're just holding steady, moving sideways. The 10-year yield, basically flat today. We're in the tip of this pattern. Are we going to break to the upside? Oh, we'll find out here over the next couple of trading sessions. And then the 30-year also down 0.72%, but we're still within the pattern there. We're right in the tip of it, and we'll see if that breaks to the upside. Generally, falling wedges break to the upside. What does that mean? It means that potentially this pullback is almost done, and then we might head higher. It's possible we do one last dip and touch and do a full retest before moving higher on the long end. TYX-TNX ratio is slightly lower, the curve inverted versus the 30-year versus the 10-year. The 30-year was down 0.72%, the 10-year was basically flat, resulting in a curve that inverted, which is not necessarily great for precious metals. Bond prices slightly higher, but we're still in this rising wedge, which makes me think we are going to head lower. So I'm in the camp that we're probably going to see in the short term bond prices go down, yields go up, and it looks like oil's trying to put in a bottom too, and they all kind of correlate together. We've got gold. Gold's down 0.5%, but overall, I still think it looks really good. We're sitting on top of all the pattern or all the support levels, and I still think we're going to head higher eventually. Maybe not in the short term if we get increasing interest rates, but overall, at some point, we are going to go higher in gold. Silver down 0.8%, but we're on top of the pattern, and we are underneath strong resistance in the 24.75 range. Platinum down a teeny bit, but I still think platinum looks fantastic from a longer-term perspective. There's your consolidation there. We've been moving sideways, and I think eventually we'll head to a land far, far, far away. Palladium down, but I do think palladium's trying to bottom here. Maybe a false breakout, and now we're trying to bottom and work our way on up. We'll find out over the next trading sessions. Platinum's the cheapest metal of all of them. Palladium, if we can find a bottom here, and if rhodium bottoms, that could be good for some mining companies. SAU to gold ratio, slightly higher, 0.86%. And what we're looking for is we're looking for a move to break out of all of this downtrend line garbage and the uptrend line here that we're underneath. We want to break through all that. We break through all of that, then the gold and silver mining companies are outperforming gold. We've got a nice little setup from a very, very cheap area. And yes, I am playing this. I am playing it with some gold and silver mining companies, some royalty companies down here, and even some mutual funds / ETF. CRB slightly lower today, down 0.7. It looks like we are squeezing up. We're up against resistance. And maybe we're putting in a consolidation here. Looks like some sort of falling wedge. And we're seeing falling wedges across everything. CRB to S&P 500 slightly lower still. This looks like just a accentuated maybe falling wedge as well. But here we are. We've got a CRB index has underperformed the S&P 500 as of lately in the short term. GDX sideways. So we had gold down, but GDX was slightly higher. So this outperformed right at resistance. GDXJ is right at resistance if you draw a long trend line across. SILJ as well is right at resistance that we're trying to break back above. Crude oil, I like the way that this is traded today. We've got a downtrend line. We broke up above that. We did our retest today. You can see on the retest that we had a very strong bounce right off support, moving to the upside. So I'm hoping that crude oil has found a bottom here and that we can start moving its way on up, sideways to higher is kind of my guess. Maybe we've got a little bit more sideways action before moving up, but it's looking a little bit better for crude oil. TTF gas up 1.33%, still above support. It's looking okay. We've got, and I think this will work its way up. Usually when you get a big green candlestick like this and small selling pressure back, that generally works its way on up. Natural gas in America, Henry Hub, up 2%, and it's trying to find a bottom, I think, and we're right at support. XOP, yeah, you know me. I look at this chart, I think it looks good. I mean, obviously, we've got the inverted head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder. We're underneath the neckline still, but we've got a nice little candlestick today that bounced off its bottoms. If we came up, you can see the strong selling pressure in the morning, and then that came back up throughout the day. So the momentum reversed today, kind of midday, late day. So I want to see if this momentum can continue us to the upside and try going after that neckline. OIH slightly lower, but it looks like we're in this falling wedge. The trading day today, we gapped down in the morning and it came back up. That's generally positive. A lot of bottoms are done by gapping down and then working its way back up. So I think it looks good. We'll see, again, what happens over the next few trading sessions. But I think XOP and OIH are looking a lot better, along with crude oil. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust still looking fantastic. Not much selling pressure here. If we were to see a top, we would see big down selling pressure. We don't see it. It's more like a flag pattern. So I think it's a continuation pattern. I think we'll head higher at some point. Still looks very good. URA still above support. Still looks fantastic. I like how it's being resilient up here and not just selling off. URNM, same thing. It's looking fantastic, being resilient up there. And URNJ. So I think these will all eventually work their way higher, and it looks fantastic. TAN moving sideways today, still looks good to try to break and move on up. We've got COPX, which is the copper ETF, still looking fine, right above support resistance. And I think that will eventually work its way on up. This is a double bottom, and generally this is your ideal buy point right there for a move on up. Lithium has broken its downtrend line. We were down a little bit today, maybe doing a little bit of a retest, but still looks good to move on up. Same with REMX. Broken downtrend line, still looks good to work its way on higher. That still looks good. S&P 500 up a little bit today. It's still working its way on up. You gotta admit, those some pretty awesome lines that I drew in there. I'll draw more of a legit line there. So we got one there, that's broken. And then we can draw another one that's like this. There we go. And that's broken to the upside. NASDAQ also kind of just floating a little bit higher. It's grinding on up. Still looks good for the short term. KRE, regional banks, still looks good to go higher. I don't see any reversal candlesticks. We've got a broken downtrend line, and I would expect this to work its way on up. Emerging markets down a teeny bit today, but still looks good to move on higher, still above support. We've got a falling wedge that's broken. We're above support, going to horizontal support, still looks good. XHB also still looking good. Not much selling pressure in any of these little areas, and I think it'll just continue to grind its way on up. Moo down a little bit, 0.4%. Looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here. We'll watch it and see if we can get the Green Army to show up and move on up. So I think sideways to higher is what I would see here over the next weeks. Copper down a little bit, but at least we got some buying pressure at the end of the day, that's what that wick is at the bottom there, and we're right on support. So it still looks good. Iron ore still grinding its way on up. A little bit more of a selling pressure day. We could see a pullback in the short term with that bearish engulfing. But overall, guys, I think this is going to work its way on up. That monster pattern, Livermore accumulation cylinder with a falling wedge. It looks good to go higher. Aluminum down 1.42%. We're still bouncing between these two support resistance areas, and we're just squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Baltic Dry Index down slightly, right on support, and I think we'll head higher over time with this falling wedge being the breakout. We do have a high here, a higher high. This is a low, and this is a higher low. This is an uptrend. So we're in an uptrend in the Baltic Dry Index. Newcastle coal looking fantastic down here. Another bullish engulfing here on the weekly. This looks like it wants to go higher. I would be looking at coal and maybe potential coal companies. And I do have that on the website if you guys are interested. Bitcoin crushing it here, up 5.26%. Wow, this has been going back and forth, but that looks like it could go higher here. Moving on up. Ethereum also up almost 8%. Big up move there, big bullish engulfing. That looks good to go higher. It's also a trend breaking today, which is basically a flag pattern. There it is. Flag pattern being broken to the upside today. So that looks really good for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to use the word turkey if you guys want to join our community over at finding-value.com. We have a 7 a.m. question and answer session coming up. Overall, hopefully crude oil finds the bottom here and starts to move on up. I've been waiting for that for a little while. Some of the companies, I would say, might be good entry points for some of them if you look at the charts on some of them. And they are quite low. Gold, silver, all the precious metals still look pretty good. They're sitting on top of things, which is always a good thing. Copper's looking a lot better. So, things don't look too bad in the short term here. All right, guys, that's all I've got. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.